What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today we are reacting to the scary reality of Canelo versus Crawford. Now, this is by Motive Media Presentation. They bring out some amazing boxing videos, boxing breakdowns. So make sure you go check them out. Crawford and Canelo is on the horizon. You know, they signed the deal, they signed the fight. It's in September, I think. This past weekend, Canelo versus Skull happened. Which was a very underwhelming performance from Canelo, sadly. But I think this is the type of fight that could bring out Canelo's A game, because he knows it's a lot writing on the wall for him. You know, he has a lot to lose in this fight. Let's get into this video, man.
You know, everything's happened for a reason. In September, I'm gonna show the world what greatness look like.
Fight fans, welcome.
This is gonna be a good ass fight, man. It's gonna be a good ass fight.
Change your tune on wanting this fight over the years. Originally, you didn't want it. Why is now the right time for this fight?
After that somewhat lackluster Williams-Skull fight, the narrative once again appears to swing full circle.
We can all see it. Canelo's declining. We can see it.
Yeah. It's age though, man. Canelo's been a pro since he was 15.
There's a select few, however,
it's definitely that
have
time, like,
idea than
like
you
he's
and
getting
I.
tired, basically.
He dropped me, you know.
They've been dazzled by the hand speed.
He's been a pro since he
They've
was
witnessed
15
the
years old,
IQ
man.
in real time.
It's like a surgeon, you know.
And they've felt the power, or at least what they can remember of it.
I think Canelo would have knocked the horse that much with that shot.
So here, in chronological order, we'll gather
Canelo's
the opinions of
crazy.
former foes. We'll keep a tally and explain what we learned from each night to prove that what initially looked like a one-sided beatdown might actually be a much, much closer fight than we first entered.
You weigh it up 50-50, if I'm honest. Yeah, genuinely.
Has Canelo even been hit half as hard as you can hit him?
I don't think so. There's nobody that he's been in the ring with that's going to hit him as hard as I'm going to hit him, so.
Six-time champion of the world.
When they fought back in 2012, Shane Mosley represented Canelo's first true leap of faith.
Obey my commands. Good luck. Touch glove. Let's go to work.
A 21-year-old rising superstar against a 40-year-old future Hall of Famer. He made it awkward from first to last, but Sugar Shane was a lot slower than we'd seen in recent years.
Mosley throwing more, and Alvarez landing more.
And Canelo,
yeah, man, that's what happens when you get up in age, man.
Hitting him cleaner and
boxing
more
is a
often
young
than he'd
man's
ever
sport.
been hit before.
Again, terrific fight. The entire crowd.
Boxing is definitely a young man's sport.
Fast forward to 2023, Mosley was giving Bud praise in the run-up to the Spence fight.
You know, he's been there a long time. He has the speed, the power, and like I said, the know-how, the ring generalship. He has all the tools, you know, of a great fighter. He is a great fighter.
But the tone immediately switched as the idea of a future Canelo-Crawford fight was presented.
Could you ever see Bud versus Canelo fight?
I think that if Canelo and Bud were actually the same size, whatever, Bud will have the advantage, but I think that Canelo has the advantage.
That's a great question.
A lot bigger.
That's a great question. If Canelo and Bud were the same size, who do you have winning that fight? Because, you know, obviously Canelo would have the advantage in the size department, so that's why people really. That's really why people would give him the edge right now over Bud. That's really one of the main talking points. But if they were really the same weight class, who would you give it to?
Thank you, everybody. Viva Mexico!
We're scheduled 12 rounds of boxing. Champion versus champion. Undefeated fighter versus undefeated fighter.
1 year later, a very different set of skills came in, attempting to derail the Canelo hype train.
So as a fan, I do like watching Canelo. As a fighter, you know, he's not gonna hit me with none of that. I feel like I could turn him all night, let him run into something.
It's always different.
I feel like Canelo's
so
not on
from
my
a
level.
fan of boxing to a fighter, it's
Austin
like
Trout
if you
was
give
a
praise to this
unbeaten
fighter, it's just
Texan
like, do
that would
you
provide
think that he
the
can beat you or something like
perfect
that?
platform to an eventual
You always gotta be
Mayweather fight.
careful about what you see.
Looking to defend and unify the titles.
It was a bull versus matador affair as billed, but it also allowed Canelo to show us more of what he had.
Remember, when it comes to combat sports,
And if he wasn't already, then he was certainly a fan favorite now. Trout felt Canelo's power in true chicken dance style, but his opinion still swung the other way regarding a September mega fight.
Crawford's a monster. He's a strong dude. You know, I don't know.
I don't even know. I don't know where.
I don't think he.
Austin Trout went out.
I'm never gonna go against Crawford for
that fight.
If he believes it, then I believe it. Damn it.
What do you tell me against Cotto tonight if you're watching this video?
Use your jab.
You think that's his key to win? What does Canelo need to do to win?
I can't tell you that if we got a bet.
For his 48th fight, another Hall of Famer laced up against the Golden Boy.
This is going to be really good for all the fans, and no matter if you are Puerto Rican or Mexican, you are going to enjoy tomorrow.
Puerto Rican.
This time it was Miguel Cotto, another exciting style
rivalry.
with a huge fan base and enough power to make it interesting.
Miguel Cotto has great timing on his
Sucks this wasn't.
frustrating Canelo Alvarez with his sharp timing right now.
Canelo is really doing some great things to cause Cotto some issues right now.
This one was a fight with very little clinch work or fighting on the inside, just an assortment of clean, flowing combinations and technical decision-making from two of the sport's smoothest operators.
And come with a beautiful left uppercut up the middle. I thought only me and Roberto Duran could do that, but I see that Canelo has it too.
Ultimately, youth prevailed. And while the Puerto Rican didn't exactly pick a side in a recent interview, he put the higher praise and shock factor in favor of the smaller man.
Can Crawford come up to like 168 pounds and fight Canelo?
You know, who knows? But the setup of skills that Crawford had can cause a lot of trouble for Canelo.
All right, fight is in the 140-pound weight class where Crawford owns a title belt. Many expect him ultimately to move up to the more glamorous welterweight division.
Another year,
it's crazy
we
to
saw
think
Crawford
started
for
out
his
at
most
135.
provocative opponent to date.
That's actually crazy.
So where the
Canelo started out at
excitement
like
continues,
47, but he
the
went pro
humbleness ends here.
at 15. But to be honest with you, 147 at
Lundy
15.
was tough, durable, and backed himself going into any fight. But he was also guilty of verbally writing checks that his fists couldn't cash.
They actually shorter than what I thought. Oh, we can work with that. That's easy money.
Despite a strong, assertive start, Crawford would slowly figure him out.
They don't like each other. You can feel it, and the fight is likely to break out again.
And that initial confidence was systematically beaten out of him by the sixth.
Down goes Hank Lundy on a Crawford left hand. Wailing away at Lundy in the corner, and Willis is going to stop it.
Having fallen under the radar, Lundy only officially retired last April, but it's an opinion that's still as valid as any.
Him being a dog he is, and real recognizing real, he chasing greatness, and I respect it. But to me, it's too much of a jump up and wait.
It is not often that two superstars of a sport face off at the peak of their careers. This is one such event.
Next up, 3 months later, came the pair's only mutual opponent.
This is a weird fight.
Amir Khan, the fastest hands in the business, and another man that never turned down a challenge.
One thing that I've noticed from Amir Khan is that he's too brave for his own good. He will stay in front of you. He will land combinations. He will want to give the fans an exciting fight.
The Brit fought Canelo in 2016. He had a surprising amount of success in the early rounds.
American speed is crazy.
But it was all taken away from him in a split second.
Tricky style.
The Crawford fight came 3 years later, but this time the success was minimal.
Canelo's stronger and is easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit. Clean.
The Nebraskan took
I don't know if you
control
can really
early, forcing
compare
what many believe to be a
these two
no-moss ending
performances.
for Khan, following a questionable low blow.
I don't know. Maybe you can because
His opinion
Canelo
has
brought
changed
Khan
a
up
little
in
over the
weight.
years, maybe due to recency bias. But Amir
It's
now
weird,
favors elusivity.
Because Khan was
over punching
obviously
power.
I wish him all the very best, and I think he can
he
do
was
it.
he was done by the time he fought Bud, really. But Canelo brought him up in weight.
His IQ is so perfect.
I don't know, man. It's
he'll see
a
everything.
weird situation.
Undefeated fighters on the line, the WBO welterweight championship.
To close 2018, Terrence Crawford's homecoming provided plenty more chaos.
And I hope he swings faster than what he swung today, because I seen that punch coming a mile away.
Aggression is in the Benavidez DNA, but the clash of characters against Jose Jr. pushed emotions to the boiling point.
He said we all bark but no bite. Come Saturday, he gonna find out how hard I bite.
In the place it mattered most, both men kept their heads. But Crawford's patience, punch variety, and ring IQ allowed him to take control. Benavidez gave credit where it's due in the aftermath, and he too picks brains over brawn for September.
All these fighters that go in there to fight Canelo, they already go in there scared, is what I believe, you know, that which already beats him, you know. So Crawford's gonna go in there to fucking win. He's not gonna go in there to fucking lose. So I mean, I have it going Crawford, bro, to be honest with you.
The most magnetic matchup in the classic and fabled middleweight division.
Another instant classic came when Alvarez met the Miracle Man in Vegas, and this time it was Canelo on the receiving end of some pre-fight hostilities.
I feel like I'm the best middleweight in the world, and that right there, he gonna get it tomorrow. Watch that shit. Back that. Let's go.
Me entiendan porque es puro mexicano. Que chingue a su madre.
This is what it's all about. You just don't know. Middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez defending against Daniel Jacobs.
Just like Crawford, however, he would use it to his advantage, and this one was a Canelo masterclass.
Look at him slip all these shots. The hardest thing to do in the ring.
Head movement, defensive finesse, and offensive composure that would ultimately give him the edge in a close-fought encounter.
Canelo Alvarez waves to the crowd in what looked like just an outstanding performance.
Jacobs is another one that stuck around, fighting until last July, just long enough to provide his opinion on boxing's biggest showdown.
There's weight, there's power, there's skill. I believe that Terrence Crawford has the skills to beat Canelo.
I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times, obey my commands. God bless you both.
You know, a lot of people are favoring him, but
To see the year out, Canelo would make his own weight jump, stepping up to face Sergey Kovalev.
I think a lot of people would have a lot more confidence in Canelo if it wasn't for a lot of
The
his
Russian
recent
was
fights.
never quite the same after the Ward losses, but he was still an extremely dangerous assignment.
With Kovalev's strength and power advantages, he can end the fight at any moment.
Kovalev did start strong, using his physical advantages, but he wasn't quite committing to his shots the way we were used to. And eventually, as his speed and stamina started to dwindle, Canelo smelt blood.
Terrence Crawford wants to fight Canelo.
Sergey's reaction to Canelo Crawford reflected how 95% of the boxing community felt at the time, and his words, coming from experience, hit hard.
So he's the best pound for pound fighter, but if he will move up, like, he can beat Canelo.
You think so?
Yeah. But I don't know how he will be comfortable, you know, in this division.
You know, one thing I say, right? One thing I say, like in this, is if you like Bud is moving up in weight, right? He's moving up in weight. He's fighting Canelo at 168. Can Bud like mess around with the other fighters at 168? Like, can Bud beat Berlanga? I don't know, man. Like, it's a good question. It's just there's weight classes for a reason. But Bud thinks he has the skills enough, and that Canelo is not on his level, so that's why he thinks that he can really beat Canelo. But I don't know if if he like tries a campaign at 168, could he really beat a lot of the other fighters? I don't know. It's just a weird concept.
Sort of a human weapon, a man so determined and committed to his job.
Crawford's next test would be a mini version of Kovalev.
Kaviaskis is no pushover. He's been wanting this fight for a year.
Mean Machine.
Mean Machine was a humble, unassuming all-rounder that brought a lot more than meets the eye.
What do you have to do? How do you beat a Crawford? I mean, orthodox, out pressure, do you box him? You can go for the knockout.
Yeah, I will go for a knockout, of course.
Bud throws at the same time as his opponents, something that usually, with his IQ and angles, works in his favor.
See, the patience of Kaviaskis is getting to Terrence right now.
But this time, in his first true moment of adversity, it worked against him.
Kaviaskis comes forward.
He got knocked down. He won't admit he got knocked down, but that was a knockdown. He got hurt a couple times.
And Bud Crawford was hurt.
The Lithuanian made it
Mean
tough.
Machine wasn't no joke, man.
Crawford
Look at that
always
fighter.
finds a way.
Like, he can handle himself and he can punch, but Crawford is a great fighter in his prime.
There's been mutual respect ever since, but Mean Machine still doesn't fancy the Nebraskan's chances up at 168.
I hope they're not going to make that fight. I don't think Crawford it's a good idea for Crawford to move up and wait and fight Canelo.
No.
I don't think so. Canelo is just too big, too good.
I believe, the team believe, that we're going to take that title away from him. We believe that he's not boxed anyone at my level, and we're fully focused on ripping that title away from Terrence Crawford.
You know,
There's
funny
been no
story. I had Kell Brook winning this fight, right? Because at the time, I didn't like Terrence Crawford. Like I was a Spence fan. It's not that I ain't like him. I don't dislike any fighter, except for Ryan Garcia. Fuck Ryan Garcia. I don't really dislike any other fighter though. Like as a fan of the sport of boxing, I have my favorite fighters, and you know, obviously their rivals and stuff. I was an Errol Spence fan. I still am an Errol Spence fan. So I favored him in terms of, you know, him fighting Terrence Crawford, and you know, obviously Errol Spence beat Kell Brook before, and you know, I wanted Kell Brook to beat Terrence Crawford because, you know, they fought. I mean, they were a mutual. He was a mutual opponent between the two when they haven't fought yet. So I wanted him to beat Terrence Crawford. So it was crazy.
Off touches for Terrence Crawford, and his 37th fight would come against another game Brit that had given plenty of world-level fighters hell.
ESPN.
Kell Brook was past his best, so it's hard to know which version really showed up.
See, his jab is giving Terrence Crawford problems, and Terrence goes southpaw.
And despite some early successes, Crawford's ability to switch stances, adjust on the fly, and then capitalize made all the difference.
And still.
Interestingly, after this fight, Crawford shut down the idea of a future Canelo fight.
No, I would never think Canelo would fight. He's, what, 168?
And while holding his former foe in the highest regard, Brook too struggles to see past those physical advantages.
He's like a surgeon. He's got it all, you know what I mean? But so has Canelo, you know. So it's one what I'd definitely be interested in seeing for sure, but I'd probably have to lean towards
That nigga
Canelo.
fat as shit now.
You can stop Canelo.
I didn't even notice that. I wasn't even paying attention.
So has Canelo, you know. So it's one what I'd definitely be interested in seeing for sure.
What's up with the Brits?
I'd
Always
probably have
get
to lean towards Canelo.
You believe you can
After
stop
they
Canelo
retired.
Alvarez? We've seen him got a great
That's
chin against the
hilarious.
likes of Gennady.
I mean, it happens to a lot
brother
of
Danny
fighters,
Jacobs
a lot
and
of,
Kovalev as well. Do you think you have the
No one wants to
size
stay
and
in
the
shape
power
after
to get
he
him out
retired.
there inside the distance?
Another tall order was presented to close 2020 as Canelo this time faced the taller and harder hitting Smith brother.
Can he do what no fighter has been able to do since Floyd Mayweather?
This one brought more of the same. A mutual respect in the build-up.
I respect him, but I don't fear him. I'm here to beat him.
Followed by pure class in the ring.
I don't know what the game plan was for Callum Smith, but
Smith offered some
ain't
resistance,
work,
soaking up everything that came his way. But the slips, counters, and head movement highlighted another marquee Canelo performance.
You know what, Sergio, Canelo just provides such a tight package coming at you. And then when you throw a shot, he's able to boom or counter. It's just so difficult to beat.
Definitely wasn't a try to box me outside.
Since then, based on the eye test and his own experiences, Smith only sees the eventual Crawford fight going one way.
Charlo's a massive 154, and he was bullied by Canelo on the night. Yeah, I think Crawford's probably got more ability than Charlo, but there's only so much size your ability can make up for, and I just think Canelo might be that naturally a little bit too big for him.
That's the truth. That can definitely, that's how that fight can definitely play out. Canelo could just walk through.
By this point, few even bother trying to intimidate Canelo anymore. And when Caleb Plant stepped to him on stage, we found out why.
This build-up is crazy. This is definitely my favorite fight.
It was a swing and a miss that only heaped more pressure onto the American.
He will feel something
I had
different.
Plant winning.
Believe me.
And he was winning half of the fight. No matter what I say. Caleb was winning half of that fight. But Canelo just caught up to him, man.
Defiance that kept him hungry for the first half of the fight.
Canelo says this is the most important fight of his life at the end of his career. He wants to be considered one of the all-time greats.
Canelo would, however, be rewarded for his efficient work and clever pressure, taking his man into deep waters and then drowning him.
I think that was the 11th round, too. Caleb Plant was starting to fade.
No bad blood left the arena that night, but Sweet Hands still refuses to pick a side regarding Crawford.
Terrence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, and it's exciting.
It's definitely going to be an exciting fight.
I'm just a fan that night watching.
Yeah, man, that's how you gotta go, bro. It's just a fan.
Cannelo's the money man. He's getting all these boxers in the ring. And now when people ask me, I say, I suspect that Bud Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Oh, it's the Sean
2
Porter
weeks
fight.
later, it was Bud's turn.
I had Sean
and
Porter
this
winning
time,
this fight
friends
too.
became rivals as Sean Porter came to test his chin, his engine,
I
and
had
his heart.
Sean Porter winning this fight and Caleb Plant winning his last fight.
He's not going to be able to be comfortable the way that everyone else is allowed him to be comfortable. This is the big test. Now the test is coming, and we'll see what happens.
As expected, Crawford's work was cleaner, but Porter's work rate and underrated skill set made it difficult.
There's Porter coming in with that relentless aggression that he's known for.
An iconic moment would come just before the start of the 10th.
Yeah, come on. Hey, we gotta go.
Crazy ass
And just 60 seconds later, it was all over.
Damn. Like, boy, it's just a generation.
Since then, on his Porter Way podcast and in various interviews, there's been a ton of Sean Porter gems regarding Crawford Canelo.
Canelo's gonna cover up. He's gonna let you bang on him, and he's gonna try to rip off. But Crawford's fast. He can get in and get out. I do believe Crawford can win the decision. And with Crawford, we've learned, don't blink.
Yeah, man, don't sleep on
It feels
Bud's
crazy
power,
that
man.
3 years have already passed
sleep on his
since
power.
the Mexican star took his own leap of faith against Bivol.
I would never bet against Canelo Alvarez.
This is a crazy
but
fight
I
too.
tell you what, Dimitri Bivol has been so calm all week, you know, so I give him every chance in this fight, but he's fighting arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Dimitri was hugely overlooked in the build-up, and it opened just like any other Canelo fight.
There's an uppercut again that just misses. Oh, that snuck through, caught the chin a little bit for Canelo.
Where most opponents eventually showed moments of weakness.
I don't think that Canelo should have went up in weight.
Nothing.
I don't really think he should have went up to 168, to be honest with you. Like, I know, obviously,
he pushed him back, teed off,
with
and
age
kept
and stuff,
a
it's harder to
12-round
make the weight.
sharpness that nobody expected.
You know, as you get bigger, but still, man, I still don't think he should have went to 168.
A modern-day blueprint might be there now for Crawford, but Bivol knows exactly how difficult of a task it would be for a smaller man to execute.
Campaign there.
Opponent Canelo. What do you think of reports of him
Canelo
fighting
obviously
Crawford?
knows best. Obviously, for
It
himself.
could be a really good fight, yeah, but too big difference between weight classes, of course.
Be strategic, be disciplined, and following all the way to the finish line.
Now,
this
a
fight is
promotional
definitely
free agent,
for
the Spence fight
pound for
loomed.
pound.
I think this is the biggest fight since Mayweather-Pacquiao.
The only thing in the way, a WBO defense against tricky operator David Avanesian.
Everybody in boxing around the world has been calling for Spence and Crawford.
This is no easy fight for Crawford. It's no war can be done for Crawford.
The Armenian style
This is a
ensured
weird fight.
fireworks on the night. But Crawford dealt with it how a champion should. He got comfy in the kitchen and used angles and his own relentless work rate to beat
This is
Avanesian at
a
his
real
own
weird
game.
fight. Blood had busted his gloves in between rounds or some shit, I remember. He had to switch the gloves or
And
something.
when he needed a statement most, he got it.
Still a good at knockout.
When asked about the fight in recent interviews, David shut it down in a mixture of can't pick, won't pick responses.
Into this fight, I see this fight. Who wins? Difficult question. I don't know.
July 29th, history will be made for the
ABC.
first time in the four-belt era.
When the two biggest fish in the welterweight pond met in the summer of 2023, the boxing world finally got what it wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the bout the boxing world has been waiting for.
Errol Spence's car crash threw an air of uncertainty on the fight.
Everything that Errol Spence has been through with the accident, with the eye injury, even in the last fight.
But ultimately, Terrence Crawford once again made his toughest test on paper look like another day at the office.
To the head and the body.
Impeccable timing, razor-sharp reflexes, and the ability to bully the bull. A career-defining victory that Spence never really recovered from, and one that makes it hard for the Texan, having felt it, to bet against.
If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, you know. So I'll be going for Bud, you know, if he fight Canelo.
We've got His Excellency's team already planning the future. I'm telling you on Saturday night, this man is about to give everything. This will be the toughest fight of Terence Crawford's career.
Terrence's most recent outing would act as a trial run for the big step up.
Whenever you deny Terence Crawford, he comes out and shows you exactly what you've denied. So I think he's going to take control early and leave it that way.
It would come at 154 against Israel Madrimov, another man that was too skilled and too hungry to let Bud have it all his own way.
Well, your eyes don't deceive you. Terence Crawford looks just as big, if not bigger, than Israel Madrimov.
We knew the Uzbek's feet and power would make him a tricky customer. What we didn't realize is that he also had the smarts and the toughness to hang with Crawford.
He overextended himself and Crawford made him pay. Crawford fans think he's done enough to get the job done.
A razor-close fight all the way to the final bell that left the boxing world with mixed reviews.
Yeah, that was a real tough puzzle.
I don't think it looks like a great idea
to figure out.
after tonight.
Madrimov, surprisingly, felt otherwise.
Crawford too is smartest guy. I think it's 12 rounds. Maybe win Crawford.
I think Crawford has showed himself to be extremely dangerous to someone like Canelo Alvarez over the years.
I think Bud just
For the
got to
first
stick
time
to the
we've
game
seen
plan with
that
Canelo.
Crawford isn't as dangerous
And not
as we may think.
get
He may
drawn
have
into
fought
a
himself
fight.
into that fight with Canelo.
And then, to set things up properly, came Berlanga, a hard-hitting underdog that brought Canelo another dose of pre-fight fire.
No, you're gonna see. Take it easy.
No, I'm gonna
Take it easy. Take it easy in way because your turn is coming.
You're gonna see.
Your time comes.
Huge for the 168-pound division, Edgar would balloon up to 193 by fight night.
As a reminder, obey my commands at all times.
That might do
Protect
crazy.
yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck.
And while the extra size allowed him to absorb a lot of what Canelo was throwing, Crawford watched from ringside as a lightning left hook sat the youngster down in the third. Ultimately, a landslide victory for Alvarez, and enough of a showing to merit the Puerto Rican's nod of approval for September.
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger.
He say he's gonna eat me, but the only thing he's gonna eat is gonna eat this. Look, this. Everybody talks shit, but when they step in the ring, it's gonna be something different.
And last up, and probably least in terms of entertainment value, came the recent Williams Skull fight.
For the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world.
A night where Canelo struggled to close to gaps, but his trademark head and body movement kept him on the right side of a points decision.
There's a left hook from Canelo. That school momentarily stops moving.
Oh, that's why I don't like to fight those kind of guys, They can't just to survive, to go to the 12th round.
The only positive from a fight which drew the all-time lowest punch output is that we finally got a chance to see the pair eye to eye in the aftermath. And where the Cuban preferred not to pick a side, his analogy for a fight which now divides fans more than ever summed it up perfectly.
He's faced Canelo now. He knows what Canelo's about. What happens in that fight?
Well, I really have nothing much to say. Boxing is like a Pandora's box, so it's about to wait and see.
Yeah, huh? Gotta wait and see. Gotta wait and see. It's gonna be an exciting ass fight. It's gonna be a great build up, great fight. Hopefully a great outcome. Hopefully we don't get no robbery or anything. We get the right winner, the right winner or draw. You never know. It could possibly be a draw. We will have to wait and find out until September.